In December of 2023, the Washington Street Bridge over the Seekonk River in Providence, Rhode Island, was closed because of structural deficiencies. This bridge carried the westbound lanes of Interstate Route 195 from East Providence into the city of Providence and is estimated to be closed for at least 3 months for repairs. This bridge closure made traffic reroute over local streets as well as some far off areas such as Newport, Rhode Island's Pell Bridge, which caused delays there as well. The East Providence detour using local streets led drivers over the nearby Henderson Bridge, then back around to 195 to continue the journey. This caused hours of delays because of gridlock traffic, resulting in people not being able to get to work, school, or important medical appointments. After a few days of gridlock, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation was able to open two westbound lanes on the eastbound bridge because that is a separate adjacent structure without structural deficiencies. This resulted in a bottleneck for both travel directions that continued traffic issues, but not nearly as bad as the congestion on local streets. Even after this opened and traffic started to flow, there have been days where accidents have once again resulted in gridlock. This whole situation happened without true alternative transportation in place when the bridge first closed. The adjacent rail line was abandoned decades ago, although some of the infrastructure like the nearby movable bridge and tunnels sit in decay. An emergency ferry service is now in place running from Bristol to Providence with bus connections, but it is arguably quite expensive to operate. But train service would have been a perfect alternative for at least the locals with a short commute or for those commuting from the East Bay to the Providence train station. It was reported that it took one resident 3 hours to get from Barrington to the Providence Amtrak station. Of course, the rail infrastructure hasn't been used in some time, so it couldn't simply be reactivated in a short time period, but it goes to show that we need rail lines in place and operational if we want to keep people moving. Now let's compare Providence, Rhode Island's situation to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. First, Providence has a second road bridge over the same waterway nearby, but it is not able to handle both local and highway traffic without causing gridlock. Thankfully, they have some other longer routes around Providence, like driving north towards Attleboro, then back down, or all the way around through Aquidneck Island and over the Pell Bridge. But no other modes of transportation like rail, despite the decaying infrastructure for it nearby. Now, on Cape Cod, you have two road bridges over the Cape Cod Canal, and if one of those were to be closed for bridge work or some sort of failure, it would be catastrophic. 35 million vehicles travel over these bridges annually, and that traffic would have to be rerouted over the other bridge, one single bridge. That would then put more wear and tear on that structure, which is the same age as the other one that in this scenario has some sort of closure. So who knows how that would impact the structural integrity of that bridge. Unlike Providence, there aren't any other road bridges or long detours other than using the other road bridge. So the whole of Cape Cod would be reliant on one structure, at least for roads. Now, there is a third bridge over the canal that is ignored, basically, and that is the railroad bridge. It is operational and is active daily, sometimes used multiple times a day. During the summer, a weekend-only passenger train called the Cape Flyer brings tourists from as far as Boston to Hyannis, with stops in Wareham, Buzzards Bay, and Bourne. The Cape Cod Central Railroad also operates the dinner train and tourist trains over the bridge several times a week, or multiple times a day during the spring, summer, and fall. Year-round, the bridge is used to support mass coastal freight trains that move waste material off Cape, which takes thousands of truck trips off the roads per year. In addition to waste material like municipal solid waste and construction demolition debris, the train also haul other freight like chemicals and overdimensional loads like transformers or offshore wind components on occasion. Despite this variety of uses, I feel like the rails of Cape Cod are underutilized. In the past, there have been proposals to run additional Cape Flyer service, and the idea of commuter rail has been floated this year. Both of these would be necessary rail operations to keep people moving on and off Cape if one of the two road bridges is ever closed, and I think we will have these options permanently sometime in the future, even if it's a long way off. Now, even if passenger rail service wasn't available at the time of closure, emergency service could very well be set up within a reasonable time frame, even with the current condition of the tracks on the Cape. On the Cape, the track speed is limited to 30 miles per hour on both the Cape Main to Hyannis, as well as the Falmouth line to North Falmouth. Both lines could be used in conjunction with other modes of transportation to offer seamless connections and keep people moving. If you were trying to get to Martha's Vineyard, you could take the train to a bus connection that would then take you to the ferry slip. Historically, there was a rail connection direct to Woods Hole, but unfortunately that was removed many years ago. If put back in place, that piece of track would definitely get cars off the roads and bridges of Cape Cod while also decreasing air pollution, reducing parking issues, and providing a more sustainable transportation option in comparison to cars. There are other upsides to this as well, but that is better suited for a different future video. Anyways, getting back on track, my point is that if we were to ever have a bridge issue like Providence's situation, we could use rail as an alternative. Now, I have a few other points. Some people will say in response that the old road bridges are being replaced, so the likelihood of this issue is slim. Well, this video is a what-if situation, because the structures are about 9 decades old, so anything can happen if something wrong is found with them. It should also be noted that neither of the bridge replacements are fully funded, so work isn't starting anytime soon, and the finished product may be over a decade away. As for funding, $372 million were recently granted to Massachusetts for this project, but both bridges will end up costing several billion. It also appears the Sagamore Bridge is planned to be funded first, so who knows when the Bourne will actually be completed in the end. Both of these structures are necessary for connectivity on the Cape as well as for the area's economy. With the Cape reliant on tourist dollars, they really need these bridges so people can come here to spend money and keep the economy going. Now imagine if one bridge closed or the construction deterred tourists from coming then. The whole area would take a massive hit. Now, with an alternative mode of transportation, you can still accommodate these people who support the economy and can help keep Cape Cod businesses on track. While rail isn't going to replace all cars, at least having the option in place will give people alternatives and can keep the economy going. If you are at all interested in having rail on the Cape, you should watch some of my other videos by clicking on the channel or looking for links in the video description. Some of these videos talk about the possible commuter rail to the Cape, as well as a focus on saving the active and used Falmouth line, which is under threat by bike trail advocates who want it removed. This is despite its current uses to haul waste off Cape, host tourist train operations, as well as connecting to the Otis Joint Base, as well as the future possibility of supporting increased freight and passenger services to decrease road traffic and pollution. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos just like this in the future.